Broadcasting live from Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma, Washington, this is the Radio Hour, a convergence of Mast Media and LASR, Lute Air Student Radio. It's Tuesday, May 3rd. I'm Julia Grosvenor.
I'm Libby Postavoit.
And I'm Monica Payne. Thank you. Glad to have you listening tonight as my colleagues and I from Mast Media bring you the latest in on-campus news, intriguing like loose stories, and more. Make sure to visit mastmedia.plu.edu for all this and much more. So tonight, my friends, we have a big update on the KPLU story. Today is May 3rd, and it is the... Oh gosh, sorry.
Let's see. How deep are we into the campaign so far? So we've already met the deadline that was set that KPLU had to raise half of the funds they needed to buy themselves out, which we've met, I'm pretty sure, because that was $7 million and we reached $3.5 million a while ago. But where are things now, Monica?
Today, things got really huge. We reached over $5 million for KPLU.
Holy cow!
It was amazing. Today, what I was trying to say before is that today is May 3rd, Give Big Day. The website that is running the KPLU campaign, Give Big, this from the Seattle Foundation. Today is the day where you donate, and it goes straight to the nonprofit organization you're donating to. And the Seattle Foundation's site has been crashing all day because KPLU is the #1 charity receiving gifts. And it is incredible.
That is so awesome. That's such good news to hear, because honestly, if anything, this shows that not just the PLU community, but the KPLU community is so passionate. And I feel like not just proving about KPLU not being a depreciating asset, but radio in general. Like when viewers are passionate about this stuff, it's gonna stay no matter what. And clearly it is not PLU and KPLU. PLU shouldn't at least have made the decision to let go of KPLU so soon, in my opinion. That's my opinion.
Well, I think that it's interesting just to see how people are responding to this, because people are clearly very passionate about it. You know, what your wallet is willing to give shows how much you care. And the fact that people are actually putting in their hard-earned cash to support, what people consider to be a dying industry, radio, is pretty great. I'd say that we're giving KUOW a run for their money, pun intended.
Indeed, we are. They better run because our sweet jazz is coming up on their tails.
Our sweet jazz,
and
is
we will
here
not
to
be
stay.
defeated.
I actually really love jazz, so it is amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so does everyone else. At least if the $5 million has anything to say about it.
I'd say so. Oh my god. So sorry about that. I say so.
Yeah.
Increase in volume means that we are very passionate about this issue.
We are, though.
Indeed.
We are. Okay. But seriously, this is proof of what you can do when so many people gather together. It's aside from, radio, this is just proof that when so many people gather together for such a great cause, you can do anything. Just anything at all. You can fix the world's problems just by banding together.
Yeah. And I think it's
that was
so
really
cool.
deep.
Yeah, it is really. It's deep, but it's also very true in a simple way, because PLU is our community is showing that even if from a business perspective there are some higher up people making decisions that they think are best, even without maybe the entire input of the community can stand for itself. And that's why it's so great that KPLU is buying itself out, because it's finally taking that step by being independent to really become what we love about it, which is basically owned by the community now.
Sorry?
So, next, in other radio news, we have The Skaggs is Right. For those of you who do not know, LASR's own manager, Skaggs, was...
Okay.
LASR's own manager, Tommy Skaggs. I'm sorry, I forgot his first name for a second, but luckily it's in the article, which you can read on mastmedia.plu.edu.
I
So
swear.
Tommy Skaggs was recently on the TV show The Price is Right, and it was super exciting because not only was he on the show, but he won stuff on the show. He won $10,000, some headphones, and an iPhone. And our very own Courtney Miranda at the Mast interviewed him on this experience, and there's actually a lot of fun stuff to talk about here. First of all, a lot of us, even those who have seen the episode that Tommy Skaggs was on, don't know that there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. First of all, to even get on the show, you actually have to be interviewed by all of the producers. And Tommy Skaggs said that you go into one of the holding areas and you get about 20 seconds. You have to answer questions really fast, and you have to be yourself, and you have to give off the impression that they should put you on the show. They're like, what's your name? Where are you from? What's your favorite game? Do you watch the show? Do you watch it every day? And he says that even if you don't watch it every day, you still have to say you watch it every day. And another thing that I thought was really funny is that he says that while we were actually playing the game, Drew was actually telling me jokes in my ear, doing little quips to throw me off. That's hilarious in my opinion, because Drew Carey has been doing this for so many years. I just think it's funny that he finds little ways to make it fun for him, because, I mean, if the entire audience is that excited as Drew Carey, I would feel like maybe after years and years of doing the show, like I wouldn't necessarily be able to match that excitement anymore, but the fact that he's even trying to throw off contestants while they're on the show is so hilarious to me. Like, that's a dream job, basically.
Yeah.
Is to be a professional, experienced of being on TV, and then just try to throw other people off while they're on TV.
Yeah, that's hysterical. I think that it's so sweet, though, that Tommy Skaggs got to spend that time with somebody that he'd spent his whole childhood, it seems, like watching and admiring from afar.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Totally. And another thing that's really cute is that he was also asked, like, how he made choices when everyone in the audience was yelling at him. And he said that he actually just looked at his mom the whole time, which is just so precious.
Especially because Mother's Day is, like,
exactly
really coming on our heels.
Exactly. It's just so cute.
That is really adorable. Just I could imagine, like, him looking at his mom and just her, like, looking at him and just giving him a thumbs up and a cheesy smile, and just that'd be the perfect picture.
And having that focus even when everyone is screaming and yelling. I mean, like, that's a Mother's Day gift all on its own. Like, I'm sure with $10,000 he can probably find her a good Mother's Day gift, but, like, I don't know, maybe the headphones. I mean, it's also, Tommy Skaggs himself commented on the fact that since he won headphones and an iPhone, like, that matches up actually pretty well with being the advisor to LASR, so.
I mean, also, part of me hopes that PLU gives him, like, an extra bonus for making our faculty members, and by extent our students, look really, really smart.
Yeah, a promotional bonus.
Yeah.
Totally
promo.
PR.
You're hearing this, PLU, get right on that. Get Tommy Skaggs his promotion.
We root for Skaggs.
Go Skaggs, go Skaggs, go Skaggs. Okay, that's not going to catch on.
Yeah,
okay.
but I don't know, it's like, he says that the $10,000 was actually more like a consolation prize, because with the game he was playing, he was actually going for $100,000, but I mean, obviously he's not complaining. None of us are complaining. I certainly wouldn't complain if I had $10,000. I mean, we're college students. We know exactly how much
I wouldn't complain if they
$10,000
gave me
worth.
$10.
Yeah, yeah. $10 to pay off student loans is still $10 to pay off student loans, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. If you guys could be on a game show, what do you guys think you would pick? Just any game show.
Shoot. I'm blanking on names here, which is really bad to do when I'm on radio.
I did it earlier, don't worry.
But the one where you basically fill in the blanks for the words.
Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune.
That one.
Yeah, that one.
Because
that one's good.
I usually understand words and how to say them and how to fill them in. Like, I feel like this might be slightly cocky of me, but maybe I could be the next dude who like guesses stuff in one try.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yes,
Just
do
you
it.
just eyeball a word and the one clue, and you're like,
I'm like,
Oliver
got this.
Twist is the answer, and they're like, oh my goodness gracious. See, but the reason I'm scared of Wheel of Fortune is because I know how it works really well, and what if I spin the wheel and I get one of the really low like money prizes, and then I guess the entire word, but if I only got like the $100 per word thing, and then I guess the whole phrase, which was like 12 different letters, then I only get $1,200, as opposed to like some people land on like the $500,000 piece and they just guess a W, and then suddenly they don't need to pay for college anymore. I mean, me personally, if I could be on a show, it would be Project Runway. Not because I would be any good at it, but just because I would have quite the fun time on that show.
I have two. And neither one of them you can win money, give or take. No, one of them you can't. Okay, so the first one would be the other Drew Carey show. Are you kidding me? How can I not remember this? The improv show. The improv show.
The Drew Carey show. I wonder whose line it is to guess that.
Darn it, Julia. Whose line is it anyway? I would be on that show just because it's hilarious. Even though it's not Drew Carey anymore, it's still hilarious and it's still amazing, and I love it so much. I would just be like they would be doing the one where they make the noises, and I'd just be making the random noises, and it'd be funny. And then I'd be on the RuPaul's Drag Race, where they take RuPaul's Drag School. That one. Oh, are you
I honestly I don't watch that. I don't have cable, so I don't really know about many shows that are. I mean, again, I got the Wheel of Fortune, I got the Jeopardy, I got the Price is Right, because that is all network access television.
we in the Mast Radio studio, LASR studio, we know words, and we also know pop culture.
Yeah, but RuPaul's Drag Race is quite the show. I imagine it would be very interesting to be on. My theater professor, Kane Anderson, is a huge fan of the show, and I don't know. He likes to wear T-shirts with quotes from the show and stuff like that. It's a fun time.
So, we've had a lovely discussion, but now it's time to move on. This is the Radio Hour, and the number to call in is 253-535-7332. That's 253-535-7332. Make sure to follow us on facebook.com/PLU Mast Media or tweet us at PLU Mast to add your voice to the discussion.
Coming after the break, we are talking about PLU's response to sexual assault on campus and Take Back the Night. But first, here's Angel of Small Death and the Coding Scene by Hosier. This is the Radio Hour, a convergence of Mast Media and LASR.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Radio Hour here on LASR, Lute Air Student Radio. That was Heartbreak City by Goblins, and before that was Angel of Small Death and the Coding Scene by Hosier. I am here tonight with Miss Julia Grosvenor and
Hello.
the lovely Libby Postavoit.
She even pronounced my last name right.
Wow!
Yay! And tonight we are unfortunately missing Carly, Helen, Paris, and Eddie. And to all of them and what they're doing, I wish them the best of luck with everything they are doing.
And also, you're totally missing out for not being here, so,
Well, at least we're a
sorry,
triangle
sorry.
of wholeness and competence and friendship.
Oh, yeah,
So-
totally. The best things come in threes, and I think the three of us are the best ones. So there you go.
Yes.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag humble brag. Anyway.
Hashtag prayer hands. You know the emoji with the prayer hands.
Hashtag prayer hands / clapping emoji.
Hashtag
All right.
we're having a great night.
Yeah.
But do we need to take it back?
Yeah, that's what a beautiful transition. Hashtag beautiful transitions. Take back the night. This is something that PLU does every year, where they march around campus in protest of sexual assault, but obviously this year it has come in special timing with stories that have come to light about how PLU is handling sexual assault around campus. And so this happened on April 21st in the evening. Around 70 students, staff, and faculty members met in Red Square, and then they proceeded to march around campus, giving out different chants throughout the night. One of them was led by Junior Yadrida Avendano and sophomore Marisol Espinoza. They were chanting, "I wish I may, I wish I might, free our lives, take back the night. Wherever we go, however we dress, no means no and yes means yes." I think this is just a beautiful sentiment. What they were doing is showing a lot of support and solidarity for these victims of sexual assault. The crowd was composed of sexual assault survivors and allies, and there were many speeches given. And ASPLU president even spoke as she addressed the question of if these acts of violence haven't affected you, why should you care? And her answer was surprising. She said, "Actually, I have been affected by sexual assault. We all have." She said, "This space is full of people who have had experiences where their gender, sexuality, race, class, ability, and other aspects of their identity have been used against them, used to maintain systems of power and oppression. These acts of aggression don't have to be grand or severe." I think that that's very important to say, because too many of us think that sexual assault is something that we can just avoid. It's dark to say, but many of us hear these stories of sexual assault and think, oh, well, I'll be safer. But that's not the problem. The problem with sexual assault is the culture, and we live in that culture, and therefore it does affect us every day.
Yeah, like on your point, Julia, a lot of people who are near and dear to me have told me like that I should, just not go out to parties, not drink alcohol, because, those are things that would, get me closer to getting sexually assaulted on campus. Or I should, just be careful about how I dress, be careful to not walk alone at night. Ironically enough, someone told me that, I should get a boyfriend to walk home, like, for the purpose of safety. And I was just like, you are aware that, like, rapists and sexual predators tend to be the people that not just creepy people who jump out from behind a bush.
Yeah, I think the statistic is that 90% of sexual assaults happen between people who know each other.
Yeah, I'd say the safe. I'm not gonna say the safest would be like when you're walking alone at night, but like I expect there more to be someone I know who would sexual assault me than just some stranger being like, "Ah," and then take me while I'm walking home. Like, no.
I mean, it's just. But the idea, though, that what you're wearing, sorry, I hate to preach to the choir because this is an estrogen-filled room right now.
For all we know, someone listening could have never heard of sexual assault in their lives. Feel free to educate, Libby.
And, and I'm going to amend my statement about, of course, we all know because we're full of estrogen, because plenty of men get assaulted too, and plenty of people who associate as gender fluid or, just not in the solid categories of male, female, get assaulted. Everyone has a chance of getting raped or otherwise sexually assaulted. And Take Back the Night isn't just like a women's event, it's an everyone's event.
Yeah. That's really true, and I think one thing that we should keep in mind is that Take Back the Night was largely attended by women on campus, but there were some men there. You can see in the pictures, not to assume someone's gender based on picture, but I'm willing to guess that there were some male students there, because this really is an issue that in many ways is more important for men to take part in, because in terms of discrimination in reporting sexual assault, men actually have it the worst. They experience rape and it is seen as a joke. Even with stories about statutory rape between adults and minors, we see this as some sort of weird fantasy that a hot teacher would hit on a student, when really it's wrong and it's a corrupt system. And that's why events like Take Back the Night are so important, because when you have a bunch of students marching around and yelling, this gets out the message to even people who don't listen to that kind of stuff, possibly because there's a lot of judgment about listening to those kind of messages.
I mean, it's just it's so important that we do, as people who may know, or may experience or have experienced sexual assault, that we stand together and voice the fact that people who experience this, it's not because of what they wore or how much alcohol they consumed or how high they were or because they were less of a man. It's because people who commit acts of sexual assault have this really, really, really sick desire to dominate and make people scream and cry. So I just think it's so important that we have these events to stop this ridiculous perpetration of rape culture.
I agree. I think these events should not just be on our college campus. We should spread it out. We should march out to Pacific, to Garfield. We should have people all around doing this. This is not just like a college campus problem. This is a life problem.
It's a world problem, yeah.
And I remember in my women's and gender studies class in J-term, we watched this movie. It was about Miss Anita Hill, who had got sexually assaulted by Senator Thomas Clarence, I believe his name was. And
who's actually a Supreme Court justice.
Yes, and this was brought up when he was running for Supreme Court justice. And they were at the Supreme Court, and they were the people on the court who were interviewing Anita for her side. They were so uncomfortable. They were acting like children. They were ashamed to even hear her repeat the words that Clarence had said to her when, he was trying to, get with her. And they kept asking her, is that exactly what he said? And it was ridiculous that even our government would treat this so childishly.
Yeah.
And just not to get on your case, but calling it childish is an offense to children, because frankly it's adults who are the ones who make this problem a problem.
I'm so sorry, children. I really am.
That's exactly the thing. And in a way, college is about meeting that transition from childhood to adulthood. So it's very important that we do the grown-up thing, or maybe the childish thing, to speak out against.
Handle this with maturity.
Yep.
And not with this strange victim-blaming culture that seems to perpetrate as much as, assault does. All right, so you're listening to The Radio Hour, brought to you by Mast Media here on LASR, Lute Air Student Radio. I'm Libby, and next up, I'm going to be talking about more of this very pleasant topic.
Hey, it's a topic that needs to be talked about.
Well, it's PLU's response to sexual assault. So, as you may have heard, if you've been keeping up with the Mast, as well as just student culture and events, Mia Higashiyama had launched a blog last month about sexual assault at PLU, specifically the administration's response to it, and PLU's student rights and responsibilities, mishandling certain student conduct cases. So PLU, in response, has hosted not one but two forums to address the issue. The Mast has covered the first forum, during which I was actually present, which was, a good, I think, experience, because I, if you haven't noticed, care a lot about these issues. But it was interesting because the administration expressed desire for students to ask questions, and there was this culture of transparency that was very present. Everybody got in tables, wrote down questions and thoughts on sticky notes. We had pamphlets that were describing exactly what PLU's measures to counteract sexual assault and what their student sexual misconduct policy was. everything regarding Title IX, which is laws preventing discrimination based on gender. And also, I believe, information on the Clery Act, which regards mandatory reporting. And it was interesting because also Mia Higashiyama and many of those who support her and her efforts were wearing the blog, sorry, not the blog, you can't wear a blog, shirts.
You can try.
You can wear a blog on a shirt.
You can wear an airport carpet. You can wear a blog.
Well, they were wearing shirts that said, "Ask me how my college is protecting rapists," which is very, very strong. And they were sitting in a corner, I believe. Or no, they were sitting in the front. My bad.
The front can be a corner, you know.
The front is a corner.
They're sitting in the front corner.
They were sitting in the front corner.
The best corner.
And at the end, people did ask some pretty hard questions, I think. But when it came to areas with the most discussion, those regarded student conduct policy and practice of policy. The next forum, which I didn't attend, but I know several people who did, was the purpose of that was to address the issues mentioned during the first. And what I've heard is a little bit disheartening, frankly, as a self-avowed feminist. So what happened apparently was that the Title IX staff did speak about the experience for them regarding the process of students reporting sexual misconduct, because that's the term that the school has to use when dealing with sexual assault. So they were describing, according to people who have been there, that it was a very difficult process for them. And the head of campus safety was also present and described that he made sure to tell students who were considering reporting cases of rape to the police, which would actually mean criminal court cases, that it was difficult, that it was a difficult process. Which, as a woman, to me, seems very inappropriate, because yes, it is difficult, but it's more difficult, I think, for the school in some ways, because that would mean publicity, that PLU having rapes on campus would become a public record, which would look bad for prospies. It is difficult for people who have been sexually assaulted to be going through the court of law, the criminal justice system, regarding sexual assault. However, it does mean that the perpetrator would have a chance of being behind bars. And discouraging a student from going through that process doesn't seem to be the most helpful, if that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, I feel like I should say that these opinions are our own opinions and the opinions of people who have communicated with us, who have been to the event. So we do not actually speak for the Mast in response to this stuff. But like Libby said, as feminist, I'm also a feminist, and I think that one of the things about feminism that I think has been learned throughout different stages of feminism, that the most important thing is banding together, and that togetherness, and that it's not about an individual's going up in society and achieving equality. It's about everybody achieving equality, and that does require putting in some effort and making some sacrifices. And so, granted, there could be some perspective here. Perhaps the faculty who are talking about the process of going through student conduct when there is sexual assault, that could be a complaint against the system altogether. Why it's so difficult when somebody files sexual assault to for them to even reach the point where some justice can be had, because there's so much paperwork. But I feel like in terms of what the faculty should be doing, and again, this is my opinion, it could have been done in a way that made it seem like PLU's faculty, as people hired by PLU, whose job it is to make things safe for the students in a forum where they are contacting those students whom it is their job to make feel safe,
to protect,
could frame it in a way that shows that they are here and passionate about primarily keeping them safe, as opposed to mentioning the work that they do. For example, if a police officer spent his day telling citizens how hard it is to catch criminals, I can understand why the public wouldn't approve of that, because whether or not it is hard to catch criminals, we would rather hear that you are doing your best and excited to keep us safe and catch those criminals. And that's the kind of mindset that I feel like the whole campus should be in. We shouldn't be saying, oh, take back the night, everyone's yelling and they guilt you for not joining in, even though it's, everyone has their evening classes. It's not about that. We should all have the mentality of not, oh, what's going on? What's PLU gonna do? What's the higher ups gonna do? What's the government gonna do about sexual assault? What can we do about sexual assault? Because there is things we can do. We can all do things.
Like, another thing is just that, I mean, I do believe that people should be given like a fair, I don't want to say trial, but a fair hearing, as in the person who's accused and the person who accuses regarding sexual misconduct should both, have people listen to them and have, the process be fair, not skewed towards one side. But it's very, very, very disheartening to me that with sanctions, that academic dishonesty seems to be getting more consistent and more severe punishment than, say, somebody actually like raping someone. Because I've heard of cases where people have gotten off with writing an essay on what consent was with sexual assault, like where somebody admitted to raping someone. Whereas people who've accidentally forgotten to cite something in a paper have received the threat of expulsion.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem, and another reason why it's a problem is because you don't really get two opinions in that kind of a case. The teacher basically has the final decision in, hey, do I think this person plagiarized or not? And that's how that goes. Whereas with a hearing, you have to accept that it actually is a really messy thing, because while it is not very common, there are cases where somebody gets falsely accused, and because of that, even if it's a microscopic possibility, we have to take into account that sometimes the only evidence in a case is one person who says that a rape occurred and another person who says that a rape did not occur. And that's what makes this stuff so messy, and that's why anyone who is involved in enforcing this stuff should know that it's going to be messy and it's going to be hard, and should go into it fully committed to doing hard work.
Because frankly, if a student comes to you and they've been raped, they're having a harder time than you are.
Yeah. That's,
like,
again,
you're complaining, this is my opinion, but you're complaining about how hard it is to do this process.
That you're being paid for.
That you're being paid for. You have no idea what's going on in that person's head, person who has been assaulted. Like, they're going through so many emotions. They're going through so many problems. They're probably still trying to completely get the whole picture of what happened to them, and you're not helping.
Well, they may be, but it's just, it's the difficulty between the sides is very clearly skewed towards one. All right, so I think that we've gone quite a bit over time on this one.
Right. Well,
but it has been a very passionate issue, and again, we represent ourselves, not necessarily the opinions of the Mast.
Yeah, and if you would like to call in and share your opinions, regardless of how we are going on time, there is a number to call us at 253-535-7332. That's 253-535-7332. Coming up after the break, we are talking about the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death and what PLU students are doing about it. But first, here is River by Bishop. This is the Radio Hour, a convergence of Mast Media and LASR.
Radio Hour here here on LASR Lute Air Student Radio. That was Spirits by the Strumbellas, and before that was River by Bishop. Right now we're going to talk about a favorite author of mine, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there. Libby, I believe you have the story.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there was much ado about nothing. I would say there was much ado about Shakespeare. His 400th death day, or anniversary, I should say.
Because he died 400 times.
Was full of fun.
What a happy holiday.
Yeah, no, part of me wanted to cry.
Yeah. Well, actually, I feel like Shakespeare's sense of humor, he actually really appreciates that everyone celebrates on his death day. That's that's very Shakespearean.
Yes. So PLU, in the spirit of Shakespeare and fun, decided to hold a celebration. They had a lot of fun things going on. They had a Shakespeare insult smackdown. They had some foods like saffron rice that was like from his time.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
They had a sonnet competition, some readings and prize givings. They had some prop-based improv because, as y'all know, if you've read some of Shakespeare, that he does indeed have plays that we study in school, like, PLU. And students actually performed a play that's based on Richard II, one of Shakespeare's own, called Shattered. And that was just especially cool because you're involving theater with English, which is a great mixture in my opinion.
Ah, yes, beautiful.
I would love that here. Like, back when I was in high school, we had one of those classes. Everyone took it, so I didn't get to, which was...
Yeah, it was like this afternoon full of Shakespeare.
Yeah. Please, PLU, give Monica a second chance to take that class by adding it to the curriculum. I feel like I would really enjoy a Shakespeare, what was it, like Smackdown?
Yeah,
of,
the
like,
insult smackdown.
Like, "Thou'st mother is a lily-livered, slack-jawed trout," or something like that, Like, I'm sure there were far better experts there. But yeah, that's just... I don't know. I wish I attended, honestly.
Yeah, like I think that one of my favorite insults from like Shakespearean times I learned, like this was in 8th grade, so my memory might be a little rusty, was like apple bottom. And I'm just like, of all things.
I think my favorite line of Shakespeare ever, which was, I could be wrong about this, but it's just so vividly in my mind that who knows, but like in Macbeth, one of the thieves says, "You egg," and then stabs the kid, and beautiful Shakespeare. Gotta love it.
Yeah, Shakespeare just was a talented man, definitely worth celebrating and remembering. He made people laugh, he made people cry, and he made people actually study history.
He made people cut out a pound of flesh for some people.
Gosh.
Let's hope. I imagine there must have been some really hardcore fans who actually did that, which sounds just like some sort of crazy, like, like olden times version of like crazy Justin Bieber fans getting into like brawls and stuff. It's like crazy Shakespeare fans riot outside the theater, actually cut out pounds of flesh.
What I love about Shakespeare is that, and this is my opinions, not necessarily reflecting the Mast, but this does seem like, based on our B block, to have been like the feminist sort of variety of Mast Radio tonight. And Shakespeare had lots of strong female characters, I thought. Like, for example, in The Merchant of Venice, as Monica was referencing, the female character actually kind of saved all the guys by pretending to be a lawyer. So, one of my favorite plays.
Yeah. Sure, I loved her. I don't know if many people like this character. I actually really liked Ophelia from Hamlet, just because of how crazy she was. I love the crazy ones.
Oh,
you've got a lot of options.
Yeah, if there's one thing Shakespeare knows how to do, it's how to write a crazy lady and how to write a crazy man. But I think that especially for his time, the way that he chose to write crazy women was probably, again, I don't study Shakespeare, but it was probably thanks to the fact that in his time, female characters were played by men, and so he got to show aspects of women that were real, but maybe sort of informal to portray women as, because you got to see men portraying them. So it was this sort of ironic showing how women can really be, even if you can't actually show those women being how they can really be.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we've made quite a few feminist points tonight, and I'm fairly satisfied with that.
Yes. My feminist hunger is now finally satisfied.
Yeah. And you can listen to Lute Air Student Radio all week for an eclectic mix of music and talk. Make sure to listen to After Hours with Rami and Kyle Thursdays at 7 p.m. and listen to Sports Talk with Christian Bond and Kellen Westering Fridays at noon.
That was Julia Grosvenor. I'm Libby Postavoit.
And I'm Monica Payne. This has been the Radio Hour, a convergence of Mast Media and LASR. Thank you so much for listening, and good night.